Hi everyone, welcome back to the Chasing Past Golf podcast. We're in this episode. I'm joined by a familiar face. Welcome back to Chasing Past Golf podcast, Colin Ramsay. Colin, we spoke before in the past. What has changed in this brief space time, like in the last couple of years? It's always a pleasure to chat to you. Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you for the invite, Craig. Yeah, it's an honour to be on your show. A pleasure as always too. What's happened since I was last? Well, I've got a couple of years older. A few of the a few of the old age ailments, shoulder injuries, back injuries, all the things you expect when you get a bit older. But Maury and I, we've moved house.
Uh-huh.
We moved from Musselburgh to Dalgety Bay in Fife because I promised Maureen that once we came into some money that we would come over and be near our two daughters who live in Dunfermline.
Okay,
And
how's that move been for you?
on the day it was a bit stressful, but I won't go into that. It was just typical conveyancing stuff, missives and blah blah blah. But now that we're in, I've started work on a man cave because I got Maureen's son-in-law to do the work. He's a joiner and a jack of all trades. So he's just finished it last week. It's looking great.
Nice. And have you got like a special plaque with one of your books in yet? Like, because you're
There
so
will
so
be.
hum
I've got some photographs that are on the walls at the moment, and we'll have like an Edinburgh Jimmy corner where I've got some stuff there. So
Yeah.
that'll take pride of place there.
So first of all, I need to say, obviously, I apologise for not being able to attend your special book launch for the Belter of a Caddy, the stories of Edinburgh Jimmy. I do hear it was a very big turnout though. How was that for you? Like on that night, you must have felt like $1 million.
Well, I felt very nervous beforehand because I've never sat at a top table with such a distinguished guest as Paul McGinley. You know the ex Ryder Cup European Ryder Cup captain.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a big job to get him there in the first place. And I think the main reason he was there is because he had such an affinity with Edinburgh Jimmy. He just loved the man to bits. He was a tough character to be on the bag, but Paul absolutely loved him. And when it was his funeral, he came over and he paid for all the funeral expenses. And I think he put some money behind the bar for drinks for the attendees at the funeral. So that's how much he thought of him. And for him to come over, for this book launch said a lot. I was so chuffed, but I was so nervous beforehand. I don't think I slept the night before. But come the day, once I got the microphone in my hand and the MC asked the first round of questions, I was off. That was me. The nerves finished. They were away. A pint of Tennent's helped too.
As always.
As always, yeah. But the night went smoothly. It was really good. We had Eric Davidson, one of Scotland's top after dinner speakers. He was the MC, and he was very good. Very, very good. So the night went smoothly, and it finished about 11 o'clock. And I think everybody enjoyed themselves, especially Jimmy's family. His sister was there, and his niece, plus a lot of the friends and cousins, etc. A lot of them who made contributions to the book.
hmm And did Blair enjoy himself as well?
He did, yeah, he did. Yeah, as always. Especially after he'd done all his admin work. But he did me proud selling all the books, putting people to the right tables. So yeah, he did really, really well. Proud of him.
And like obviously couple of the old tenants for Blairy Boy as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, the tenants don't go amiss with Blair. The tenants doesn't stay in the glass for very long before another one magically appears.
I wonder how that transpired. Oh wait, I've got another one.
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
No, so it's no, it's very good to hear that. Obviously, it was a great turnout for you, and then obviously, you know, Paul McGinley to take time out of a very busy schedule. Like obviously, he's still doing the Sky Sports, still doing the American commentary, etc.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's testament to him, and obviously, as you say, testament to how much he appreciated Edinburgh Jimmy.
Oh, he
Um,
did. He did.
So we'll go into obviously Paul McGinley's influence on Jimmy very shortly, but in terms of that night, is there any, couple of stories you can maybe fill us in on?
Well, I'm allowed to swear.
Aye, it's fine.
Right. There's a couple of stories. One, they're both, I would say, my favourites. One was when he was caddying for Rob Lee, the famous English golfer, abroad somewhere. Can't remember where it was. And it was about 2 o'clock in the morning. Jimmy and a few of his caddy pals had been out on the bevy, and Rob Lee's hotel phone rings. They didn't have mobile phones in those days. So Rob picks it up. Hello? You're a cunt. You're a cunt. That's how he spoke. And Rob says, Jimmy, we're on the tee at 8 o'clock tomorrow. I'll no be there. I'll no be there. He says, get to your bed, Jimmy. Anyway, what he was on the tee at 8 o'clock, and he would all the pro golfers that he caddied for, and even the ones he didn't caddy for, knew what he was like. He was always up to mischief. So Rob knew he would be there at 8 o'clock in the morning. That was just Jimmy having a bit of a lark at his boss's expense. I mean, could you imagine phoning Tiger Woods or Jack Nicklaus up at that time in the morning? Don't think so. P45 time.
Definitely.
Right.
Uh,
And there was another story, caddy for John Bickerton, again another famous English golfer. This was in the Alfred Dunhill Championship in South Africa.
mhm,
So after 72 holes, John's round was finished, and he thought he was going to be second. So Jimmy put the clubs away in the car boot, and then he said, I can only need the yardage book, so he chucked it in a bin. Anyway, Ernie Els, who was leading the tournament by 3 shots coming down the last 72nd hole, hits a great drive, but he then proceeds to hit a routine 6-iron shot into the water, drops it behind, hits it in the water again, chips back up, ends up with an 8. But this time, word had got back to Jimmy that Bix might be in a playoff. So anyway, gets the clubs out, and then he scampers around the rubbish bins because he couldn't remember which bin it was that he put it in. So here he is
mhm,
scampering about the bins. But then word got back that Bix had won early, had taken 1 shot too many. So Bix had won the tournament, so Jimmy could relax. So he put the clubs into the boot, and then he headed to the nearest beer tent with Bix's wallet. To buy himself. If you couldn't find Jimmy, you always knew he'd be in a beer tent somewhere. If it
Aye.
was in Ireland, it would be a Guinness tent. So yeah, his favourite was a vodka and orange, but he liked his Guinness as well. So he was a real character. But the one thing about Edinburgh Jimmy was he was very kind, especially, and he hated injustice. He hated players taking the piss out the caddies, not giving them the correct wage or just being mean to them. And he would
Mhm,
be on their side, especially the coloured caddies in South Africa. They were poorly treated, but Jimmy
mhm.
looked out for them. So that's the stories from some of the caddies that I've spoken to. that
Yeah,
he loved looking after other people, but he was very generous with his own money. As Paul
yeah.
said in the book, he would take a bullet for you if he liked you, but
And if he did,
don't cross the line with him, because if you cross the line with him, you'd get a doing.
yeah. Well, I was actually going to say, what if he didn't like get on with him? He just,
I think if I'd known him, that was the one thing that people have asked me, why did you write a book about somebody you never knew or met? Well, I said, well, it was over a year ago in Sportsman's Bar in Musselburgh where Maury and I drank. And we got speaking to one of the regulars, Bobby Ingalls, who was Jimmy's best pal, or one of his best pals. We got chatting away. He said, I know you wrote a book about Scottish golf courses. I know he's somebody who would have loved that book, but he's no longer with us. So anyway, we got chatting away, a few drinks. The more the stories came out, and I thought, this would be a great book. Some of the
yeah,
stories and some of the characteristics about him, it just had the makings of a book. It was that light bulb moment, if you like. So I decided that I would do it. I had no idea how I was going to go about it because, other than Bobby, I didn't know anybody.
yeah.
So that's when I went to the East Lothian Courier newspaper, which was the weekly newspaper in East Lothian, and
Hmm.
they wrote an article asking for help to help Colin, find relatives and friends, etc. And it just snowballed from there. I managed to get a load of names, and Jimmy's niece Andrea, she was great. She put me in touch with a lot of the relatives. Jimmy's sister Ina and a few of the relatives, cousins. Massive family, really big family. So it took, I mean, I would never have found them myself. So thankfully, the East Lothian Courier and Andrea, Andrea came with me to a lot of the visits
Yeah,
because I felt that maybe some of them might not want to speak to a stranger. But
yeah,
but with me coming along with Andrea, that broke the ice, and we managed to get quite a few contributions.
yeah. So Edinburgh Jimmy, when was it he actually passed?
2020, I think it was the 2nd of January he died. He'd had a stroke down in London and his body wasn't found for a few days.
Oh, ouch.
So that was quite tragic. And the family had been trying to rehouse him back up in East Lothian.
Uh-huh.
And I think the story goes that the family got a phone call from East Lothian Council to say that they'd managed to get a house for them, but it was too late. He'd already passed away. Which was really sad in a way,
Yeah,
because I think he wanted to be back beside his family in East Lothian and mainly in Trinent.
yeah. What age was he?
64, still very young,
Yeah,
very young. But he lived the life he wanted to live. He did it Jimmy's way.
yeah. So, so obviously you done your first book a good
Six,
what
7 years ago.
6, 7 years ago now, yeah. With a golfer's bucket list of Scottish golf courses. Basically, that was a true passion of yours, trying to play as many Scottish golf courses as you can.
That's
Obviously
correct.
before, obviously before kind of time gets on your side.
Yeah,
Um, I can't remember the exact figure we were on in the first conversation, but like all fair, you were just saying, I think in that time you played an extra 80 golf courses.
yeah. I've played around about 330 so far.
How
So,
many how many are in the book again?
well, it varies. Some people who are trying to do what I'm doing are including par three courses and 6 hole courses, 12 hole courses. So there could be as many as over 600. I've not seen an exact number, but I would be guessing around about that. So I've got almost got the same amount again to do. and it's taken me most of my lifetime to reach that total. So, as much as I'd love to, I'd have to be doing about 60 or 70 courses a year for the next 5 years, 6 years.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a big ask.
obviously, it would have been a nice goal to reach. You're only going to be 70 years young at the end of the day coming up very
In
shortly.
April, yeah.
I mean, you don't look 70, mate. Come on.
Oh, thank you. I'll give you that fiver later on.
What's that? What's that fiver going to do in
In this day and age,
2026?
I will make it a tenner then.
No, so like in terms of like obviously this was, a big goal for you to try and tick off as many Scottish golf courses as possible during your time. What's been the hardest part for you, like in the past year and a half or so, like trying to tick off as many courses as possible?
Well, the biggest, well, I wouldn't say it was a task. It was a blow actually. We lost my mum last year, last July.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, she was desperate to come to the book launch. We kept talking about the book, and I said it's nearly finished, Mum. We're hoping to have it sometime in the early next year. But then we knew that wasn't going to happen because she was deteriorating very quickly. So that was a big blow, and I didn't play very much golf for those few months. In fact, I've hardly played any golf since July.
Yeah.
But no, it's a big loss. I know she was 91, but she was very frail. She was never really the same after Dad passed away in 2020. So we just have to face up to the fact that nobody lives forever.
Yeah, definitely. And you were also saying briefly off air about obviously the financial side of golf as well is still pretty high.
It is
And
still pretty high. Sometimes you can get deals. Sometimes I tell them what I'm doing the book for, and they'll let you on for a guest rate, maybe 10, 20 quid or something, depending on what the course is. Or you make friends and they invite you on as a guest. I've managed to play a few courses like that.
yeah,
Got a friend up in the Aberdeen area that I've played about 8 or 9 courses with him, and he's going to come down this year and play some of the courses down here. So we're lucky that way.
did you not just offer to take a signed book to them and then you get like half price or like maybe a freebie every so often?
I could do that. Yeah, I sort of gauge it by the club. Some of them are very welcoming, and you could. I wouldn't want to take the piss out of them. I
Yeah.
like to be fair.
No,
I
that's
don't, and
fair.
I don't mind paying a reasonable fee.
Mhm.
My goal is to play Loch Lomond.
Yeah.
So if there's anybody out there that knows a Loch Lomond member,
Is
please get
that
in touch.
is Lot Lomond definitely for members only, aye?
Yeah, yeah, you can only get on as a guest.
Ooh, that's a
It's no,
tough one.
that's no amount of money will get you on there.
That is a tough one, eh?
I've actually been to Loch Lomond with Blair. We
Uh-huh.
went to a Scottish Open away back for the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And Blair was given Thomas Bjorn's golf ball. He
Oh,
threw it, he
cool.
threw it, and Blair caught it. But then sadly, the next round he played with, he went and lost it. But I
What
managed to
did
get him
they?
a pair of Thomas Bjorn's golf shoes at Archiefield. He handed them in. Thomas handed them in. He said, "That's for your junior section here." Well, Archiefield didn't have a junior section. So I managed to buy them for 30 quid. So I
Fair
gave them
enough.
to Blair because they were his size. Blair's got big feet.
What?
So he still got them.
All right, I was going to ask that question. Does he still have them?
Yeah, he's still got them. He's about a 10 or 11, 10 and a half, 11 size shoe.
I mean, Imagine getting Thomas Bjorn's golf shoes.
Oh, exactly. I know.
That's
I still got them. I
that's a
don't think he's
brag
ever
if ever I've
don't think
seen
he's
one.
ever polished them, mind you.
Does he even polish his own shoes? Never mind.
Sometimes, yeah, yeah. I
Not
better say
sure.
that because he'll no doubt be listening to this at some point.
Basically, you've got basically, boy, you got your dad ratting you out here.
Well, I'm kind of being diplomatic here.
There's never any excuse to just be diplomatic on this show. Anyway, just say how you feel.
Yeah,
Say how
there's
you feel.
no malice intended. It's all banter.
Definitely. So obviously we went over the first book. What's been what's been the challenge for you in trying to, with the second book, trying to basically get as big as what the first book was? Was that always a challenge for you? And
Well,
basically, like,
I think this book will sell better.
you think?
Yeah, the first book wasn't a great seller. I got my money back and maybe a little bit more. I'm getting residual income. It's not a lot. It's not a lot each month. But I think the Edinburgh Jimmy book will sell better, mainly because Paul McGinley's name's in there, and the marketing will be better because
Yeah,
Paul bought a huge number of books at the lodge, so he's going to pass them out to friends and clients and family, perhaps. So
yeah. I
I'm hoping that
mean,
word of mouth amongst the caddies, especially the caddies in South Africa that are known that there's a book coming out. I don't know how they know that, but that's great news because they all love them. I think anybody that wants to, as a caddy, will want to read this book. That's how I would market it because there's a lot of laughs in it because that's the way he was. That's the character he was. He just loved working with people.
yeah. So like the differences between the first book and the second book, I take it's basically night and day because as you alluded to there, that like maybe it wasn't as big a seller as what you thought it would be, but this time was an extra motivation that you felt like this could definitely be much bigger this time around.
Well, it wasn't. It was never really about the money. It was just to do justice to Edinburgh Jimmy. I wanted to create a story that would be a legacy for him and his family. It was never about the money because it's not money's not a motivator for me, and it wasn't for the first book because I didn't know how popular that would be. I just wanted other people to be able to record their scores, who they played with, how much it cost, etc., in a book rather than
Yeah,
on spreadsheets. Whereas this book, it's a narrative. I just wanted people to relive the stories told by Jimmy's family, friends, players, caddies, you name it. And all the stories are through their eyes, not mine. Because as I say, I never knew him, but I feel like I do know him. If that makes
yeah,
sense. I'd love to
no,
have
definitely.
spent a night in a pub with him and had a right good chat, chewing the fat over golf stories and whatnot, anything that we wanted to chat about.
So, so we'll start
That
off.
would be success for me if people really like the book for what it is.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like I feel like if someone close to him does read that does read it, etc., then like as you said, word of mouth will spread, and then like even you can even see probably people in the pub just going on about it, like, oh, have you read
Yeah,
about
oh yeah.
Edinburgh Jimmy kind of thing.
I don't think his memory will ever die because everybody remembers him. Because he used to get freebies from his trips from Titleist, TaylorMade, you name it, all the big companies So you'd go around Trent one night, you'd see people with tightless hats and t-shirts and stuff on. To the end, then you knew that Edinburgh Jimmy was home. He was very generous that way.
Yes, so we shall start on with the some of the questions. So why would you write a book about someone you never knew or met? Like, obviously you've kind of alluded to there, but like, what was the full kind of reason? Like, well, obviously to kind of justify his story, etc.
Well, looking back, the more I heard stories about him from his pal Bobby, that here was a guy that deserved his story to be told. And once I knew who he'd caddied for, I thought to myself, well, you don't caddy for Paul McGinley and Ian Poulter without having a bit of something. And the more Bobby told me about his character from his childhood, because they were at school from an early age, and he kept telling me stories that he was hardly ever at school. Hated school. He um, he got in trouble so often that the headmaster pulled him and Bobby aside and they said, I'm going to show you this game and I want you to learn it. It was chess. And Jimmy never liked it. He said to the headmaster, can we not play dominoes instead? He says, no, you can't. Anyway, he just didn't take to it. So, but that was him. He was trying to wing it round to what he wanted to do rather than what the school wanted to do. So he was a bit of a mischief maker there then, and that's what he was all throughout his life, and it just intrigued me. It just intrigued me to such an extent that I thought I wasn't thinking about writing another book. But then you just sometimes there's an opportunity arises, that light
Mhm.
bulb moment I was telling you about. And I
Yeah.
thought this is it. Because as I said, I wasn't thinking about writing another book. But sometimes these opportunities just come along when you least expect it. Maybe like a league title win for Hearts.
No football chat on this show. No, I'm kidding.
That you have to edit that out.
No, 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 it's all good.
Nah, I hope that answers that question because I often ask myself that question: why would I write a book about somebody I've not known? But I think that should just about cover it.
Yeah, we might have that football chat in the last 5 minutes or so, but for the
Yeah,
now,
for now,
for the
yeah.
now, behave, behave,
Off tape.
behave. No, I can only imagine what it was like to, caddy for Ian Poulter. I can only imagine what he was like.
Well, Poulter didn't take prisoners either. I'm sure him and Jimmy had ding dong battles. There was one time that we're playing, and they argued over which club to take. Jimmy thought it should be one club more than what Poulter wanted to play. So he hits this club, took Jimmy's advice, and he hits it 15 yards over the green and at the rough. And Jimmy, he looked at Jimmy and said, told you it was that club that I said first. He says, no, you just fucking hit it too well. That's what Jimmy said, you just hit it fucking too well. And then if he played another hole, he left it short. He said, no, you just didn't hit it well enough. It's never Jimmy's fault. That's the other thing you'll pick up from the book. It was never Jimmy's fault. It was always somebody else's. You'll hear this phrase, it wasn't me. That was Jimmy. It was never his fault. Even
I
when he
mean,
was wrong, he was right.
it's a fair way to go, I guess.
Yeah, well, there's a few other caddy jokes in there as well, or stories. It's not necessarily about Jimmy. I'll see if I can. Got the book here.
I can,
I
I can,
thought,
I can only imagine. I can only imagine Jimmy saying to Ian Poulter, why are you looking like that? You fucking idiot," kind of thing. Like,
Well,
obviously,
his favourite word was cunt,
oh,
but he
great.
didn't mean it. He didn't mean it in a nasty way.
Uh-huh,
It was always banter. And you know when they're pre-tournament, the players are all on the practice ground, all in a line-up.
uh-huh.
You would hear Jimmy coming because he used to shuffle along, and they all daren't look round because if you ever looked round, he was going to pick on you. But if that was me, I would love it. I'd love him to come and take the piss out of me. But there was players there like, I mean, he had no favourites. He picked on Ernie Els, Bjorn. Oh, he hated Montgomery. Oh, he really took the piss out of Montgomery, especially remember when he was called Mrs. Doubtfire because
I can see the resemblance.
he dressed up as in drag and he got the name Mrs. Doubtfire. And one day Montgomery was on the range and Jimmy was shuffling along, and Monty turned round to him. "Stop dragging your feet, Jimmy." He say, "Aye, Monty, you'll care all about drag, eh?"
Oh, for God's sake.
He always had the last word. You never got the better of him. And some of them
Oh,
hated it. They daren't turn round because the moment they turned round and looked at him, that was it. They were going to get picked on. And he always found victims. They were classed as victims, but Jimmy just saw it as just ordinary piss takes.
so light bullying, basically.
Well, some might have taken it that way. But the ones that laughed and joked, but I would have thought it was a pressure easer. If you're feeling
Yeah,
under pressure and you start having a wee bit of laughter and joking, you start to relax a bit. But some of them, like Monty, was a bit uptight. I would have suspected.
yeah,
So,
and then when it came to Paul as well, I take it they were like chalk and cheese together, joking
oh,
away as well.
I think they probably had their moments as well. I mean, I don't think Jimmy was the easiest caddy to live with, but he was bloody good at his job. Paul rated him that highly. Could he caddied for anybody in the world on job wise, but it was his off course antics that stopped him going higher, if you like.
Yeah, I mean, like, could you see him maybe like caddying for, like, say, Tiger or Phil at the time, or
Well,
any of these guys?
ability wise, he could have. He would have been a great caddy for them because he would tell them straight. There was no, well, if you think it's a 6 iron, yeah, it's a 6 iron then. He would tell you straight, it's a 6 iron. And you'd know, fully confident that that was the club to hit. It might not go the yard as you want it, but at least you would feel confident that he gets it right more often than not. And he did. So, yeah, I think he could have carried for Tiger or Phil, as long as he wasn't phoning them up at 2 in the morning. I don't think he'd get away with that. That's why I don't think his off course antics wouldn't have helped him there. But
Yeah,
ability wise, he was up there with the very best of the caddies.
yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, like um in terms of like his career as a caddy, how many wins did he actually
He
oversee?
had quite a few wins, not masses of wins, but he had a few big ones. And he was the chief caddy master at the 2014 Ryder Cup at Gleneagles.
Hmm.
I think that might have been the peak of his achievements. Yeah, I think he would say that as well. That
Yeah,
was the greatest honour that he had was Paul McGinley appointing him chief caddy master, and it was his job to make sure all the players were looked after, and he was the one that told the jokes and kept the party-like atmosphere, made sure all their needs were attended to, and he did that brilliantly. And he forged a good friendship with Sir Alex Ferguson.
Oh, Fergie.
So yeah, so I think the two of them were very similar. They had tough upbringings, tough people that never gave in.
Yeah.
But the
Um,
biggest the one biggest win that Jimmy would I think Jimmy said was the most pleasing of his career was when he caddied for Peter Teravainen. Now Peter was up until that time Jimmy caddied for him, hadn't won a tournament on the European tour. In fact, he don't want to put this too unkindly, but he wasn't making much money. So if he wasn't making much money, the caddy sure as hell wasn't either. But anyway, he said to Peter, I'm going to caddy for your bag in the Czech Open that's coming up. So he did. After 3 rounds, he was only one shot off the lead, held by Howard Clark of England. Anyway, after the fourth round, they're in the clubhouse. Peter's posted a really nice score, and he's level with Howard Clark. Howard's coming up the 72nd hole, needing a par to get in the playoff. But he bogeys it. So Peter's got over the line with Jimmy. It's won his first ever European Tour win. But what was most pleasing for Jimmy was before the tournament started, he goes up to Jimmy, he said, welcome to the unemployed. Peter laughed at it, but Jimmy knew what he meant. He meant that he wasn't going to make it very much money out of caddying for Peter. So anyway, after the tournament was over and Peter had won, Jimmy sought out Howard. And you can imagine what his comments were. He's probably said something like, well, how does it feel to be fucking second to the unemployed? Because Jimmy wouldn't have minced his words, that's for sure. That's not what he said, but I could imagine. Might not be far off it in that sort of terminology. Because he
so
took it as
how?
a slight that Howard thought he was caddying for somebody who was basically crap. But Jimmy
Yeah.
seemed to get the very best out of him.
Uh-huh.
And Peter just responded.
Yeah, maybe that's just that little bit of a kick up the arse that was needed, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it was. I think he was a good player, Teravainen, but he would seem to have maybe one bad round in the four, and that would knock him out of contention. But this tournament with Jimmy on his bag, he kept it together for all 4 rounds. So Jimmy
So
was,
yeah, so how did you go about researching Jimmy and his life?
well, I did. There was a lot of stuff on the internet, but well, Ian Poulter, for instance, he wrote a book called No Limits. And in the book, I didn't know this. I didn't know who Edinburgh Jimmy was, but there's about 3 or 4 pages about him. And then Poulter's book, he says one day somebody will write a book about Jimmy. But I didn't know this when I decided to write the book. It was only when I decided to do it and picked the book up that I could see I'm losing train mornings coming in here now. What is it? All right. Um, that Jimmy, where was that? I lost track there. Can you edit all this out?
It's fine, just keep going. You were on about Ian Poulter saying
Aye,
that,
so Ian, in his voice note to me, he said it was okay for me to use the wording in his book about Edinburgh Jimmy. So that was about 3 or 4 pages of really good information, to be able to reproduce that without getting sued. Because there's a lot of stuff on there that I could have lifted off, but I would have got possibly sued for it without permission. Some of the photos when I Getty Images, you've probably heard of them.
yeah.
They they were charging like £500 for a shot of the two of them. I thought, oh no, I can't afford that. So I managed to get the picture for the front page of somebody, a photographer that I paid £200. But I needed a good quality picture for the front cover. And on the back cover, it's a wee picture of me at the bottom.
Oh, that's lovely.
Just a wee tiny one. Yeah. I gave my own permission to have that one put on.
Just a wee tiny one. You should have your image enlarged on the back page. Come on.
Nah. As I say, it's not about me. The book's not about me.
No, no, no.
And I
I know,
hope,
but it would have been nice.
nah, I think I would be really chuffed if people came out and said that is exactly how we saw Jimmy. That would prove that all the hard work that I've put into it, the research, is not gone to waste. And people will be picking it up in years to come and saying, "Oh, I still pick that book up from time to time just to cheer me up."
Yeah. Did you? Were there any challenges that maybe occurred during the process at all?
Well, I found it really hard to get Ian Poulter. He was the main man, other than Paul McGinley, that I hadn't been able to reach.
Yeah.
But eventually I persisted and I got his agent's contact details. So I wrote to his agent, emailed his agent, and the agent kindly came back to me and said, yeah, Ian said he'd be delighted to do a contribution for the book. So I thought, yes. But I still waited and waited for him to get back to me. But then I eventually got the voice note through and I just copied it into the book. So that was the biggest challenge because I really wanted him and Paul McGinley in the book. Because I've got a lot of the others there too, plus some of the caddies. There was a couple of caddies there last week. So it was quite an emotional night for them. So there's a few other people that I wasn't able to get in touch, which I was a wee bit disappointed. But maybe if I do a follow-up book to this one, then I would try and get in touch with them. I think once they see this one having gone out, they might be willing to come forward and make an additional contribution. It wouldn't be the same people again. It'd have to be new ones.
Yeah, no, definitely. I believe you had a sort of unusual call in Turkey as well.
Yeah, that's when I was on holiday there last year with my pals. It was the only time I could get in touch with this guy because he was really busy out on tour. They would probably be out for a month at a time, come back for a week, then they'd be out again. So this was the only time. I had a specific day and time that I had to phone him, and we got on, and I wrote down all he was saying, and we had a good chat. And it was a day off for us from the golf as well. So it was great. No, it just proves that you've got to take the opportunities when they arise. You've got to work around other people's timetables, not your own.
And you still had a good time on holiday as well. So,
I did, yeah. Oh, the golf courses were fantastic. And yeah, there was a lot of beer consumed, Turkish beer. And they had these wee
nice.
mini vans that come round with fruit, crisps, chocolate, beers. And they wouldn't charge you anything, but you'd maybe slip them a €5 or if you wanted to accumulate it for a week, you'd maybe drop them €20 for the week.
So what was it, FS or
FAs, yeah. When I came back, I went through my bag and I found 4 tins in there. So they'd been there,
you've been stealing all the FS?
I'd been stuffing in my bag and I forgot they were there. So they were all right, actually.
You've
FA's
been
beers.
ste
What's that?
you've been, you've been stealing all the FS.
Yeah, stealing all the FAs.
Oh,
That the
the
Turkish
Turkish
people were really nice there, really nice.
the
Yeah, I
Turkish
couldn't fault them at all. The hotel was 5 star.
yeah, the Turkish bar staff must have loved you if you're stealing all the FS.
Well, not this was the wee guy that drove round in the wee mini cart with the
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
He was great. It must
So
have been a
what
few
were
bob.
so what were the golf courses like in Turkey then? Like, well, the one that you played anyway.
Well, we played two. We played 4 rounds over the week. We had 3 days off, so 4 days we were playing golf. We just play 1 round a day, that was enough. But we had buggies every day. But they were mainly tree line. There was no rough. There was no rough at all. So you shouldn't lose a ball unless you hit in the water. And one of the days we had to leave the course after 7 holes because thunder and lightning came. So we got the
Oh.
siren to leave the course. So whenever there's lightning forecast, you have to leave the course. So we went into the bar and had about 4 pints before we came back out again. So it's amazing. You're starting to see two different balls here. But it was good. That was a good laugh. We had a great time. And I won the trophy as well.
So so after an extra 4 pints, yeah, maybe the vision does go a little bit.
More than a little bit, yeah. Well, with my glasses on, I think I was seeing 4 balls. But it was good. It was good. The company was good. The Mickey taking was good. Yeah, we had a good time. So we're all going back again in May this year. But it's a different part of Bellick.
So, what was your favourite Jimmy story then from the book?
My favourite Jimmy story. Um, there's so many of them, Craig. The two that I've mentioned already were good ones. I think it was probably those two. The Rob Lee story and the John Bickerton one.
Yeah, so basically saying that see you in T-World and
Yeah, yeah.
try
Well,
not get fired.
that's yeah. Jimmy was also involved in a serious car crash. One of his pals died in it. One of his really close pals. But Jimmy, he was in the back seat, well, under all the suitcases, or the suitcases were all on top of him. So he avoided the big impact. But he was still seriously injured. He was out the game for a while. But the biggest loss for him was his pal.
Oh, that's a shame.
So that's in the book as well.
So overall, what do you think the family thought of the book? Were they very supportive? Like
Yeah, yeah. Well,
you obviously you mentioned
I had
about
to ask permission from the family before I even did it. Because a lot, if I didn't, they would all be thinking, "Who's this guy? He doesn't even know him. He's writing a book about him." So I met his sister, and she was happy that somebody was taking it on to do. And she saw the draft of the book before was sent to the printers, and she said, "No, that's a very good effort." And everybody I've spoken to has said the same. They think it's very good. So I haven't heard what Paul McGinley thinks because he hadn't seen it before he came in. But his PA, she was really good. She was excellent. So she thought it was a great effort too. Because Jimmy used to call her a dizzy blonde, but he didn't really know her. Then one day, Jimmy was stranded somewhere abroad, and he phoned her. He said, "Can you get me out of here?" So she did, and from then on, Jimmy had the highest respect for her. He used to come in and bring her flowers and chocolates, you name it. So they were the best of buds. As Paul McGinley said last week, I think Emma, you were more the PA to Jimmy than you were to me. But she loved him as well. In fact, she made a contribution to the book. I said, "Well, you knew him. Why don't you make a contribution?" She said I was very persistent.
okay.
So
We got there eventually.
we got there eventually. Yeah, well, I don't give up. Don't give up very easily.
So when do you think you'll hear back from Paul once he's read it? Well, I know obviously he's busy, but do you think you'll hear back from him?
I hope so. I hope so. I hope I'll maybe ask Emma what he thinks. Because he was a nice man. He was. I tended to steer away from him on the night after the basic introductions because I didn't want him to think that was a lapdog following him all over the place.
Hmm.
I let him speak to people that he knew. There was a
Yeah,
journalist there, Martin Dempster, you've probably heard about. He was
yeah.
there, and I think they had a chat. But I thought, no, it's not about me. It's not about me at all. I don't want Paul to think I'm a nuisance being in his way all the time. So I tended to just stay in the background.
Did you
And
get a picture though?
yeah, I've got loads of pictures. Yeah, yeah. I'll send some on to you.
Well, fair enough. Was he smiling though?
He was,
I'm
yeah,
kidding.
he was. He was very good. I've got to say, he was there for a good couple of hours, maybe more. And he was mingling. He was happy to sign photographs, autographs, get pictures taken. So yeah, he did everything that I could have asked him for. And he mingled with Jimmy's family. So, but I must have brought back some memories, hopefully good ones. I hope the book does. I hope he does read it and he thinks, yeah, that's something I've got now for a long time.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, I wonder what Paul was thinking. Oh, I've got to go to Musselburgh of all places.
Well, it's Preston Pans, so he would know Preston Pans quite well because that's where Jimmy's wake was. It was in the Royal British Legion, but Royal Musselburgh Golf Club just along the road for the Legion. So he knows. I mean, the Royal Musselburgh holds 200 people, so we had 130. So it didn't look empty at all. The
Yeah.
tables were all set up nicely.
Oh, well, obviously, I'm glad it worked out with Paul, etc. as
It
well.
did. It did. Everybody seemed to enjoy themselves. So it
So,
was a bit
how long did it actually take to write?
about 10 months.
10 months.
10 months. Well, between that and getting out for release, about 10 months.
Was there any part you thought, oh, maybe I should just give up, kind of thing?
Never,
Oh,
never. Not a chance. No, I don't start something and then not finish it.
that's
That's
fair.
that's in my DNA. There was no way that I'd started that. And so many people were counting on me to finish it. So, but I wouldn't have stopped anyway. Once I got a good enough number to write the book, yeah, that was it. There was so many people that I could possibly have got, but how long extra would that have taken me to get them out there and do a contribution? Because they've got busy
Yeah,
lives too. You've just got to hope that you catch them and they're willing to do a contribution. But the ones that did contribute were probably the ones that you would have wanted anyway. There's others that, yeah, would possibly do it on another occasion. So maybe that's for a reprint if I do go ahead with that. We'll see what the feedback is for this. If the book
did you
sales
ever?
don't go well, then we'll just leave it at that.
You can enjoy retirement.
But yeah, well, I should be retired now. I feel like I'm more, well, I never ever considered this as work. This was a
Mhm.
hobby. And it does keep the brain ticking over.
Yeah, especially when it comes to hearts as well.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. That taxes my brain no end. Especially, right,
What
we've been on
what
we've been on for quite a while, eh?
what support network did you have?
Um, well, Andrea Mann is Jimmy's niece. She was brilliant. We met quite often, uh, and she put me in touch with all the relatives, and she was the biggest source. Erin Brown at the East Lothian Courier, she helped enormously as well with the article,
Yeah,
but she couldn't make the book launch for some reason because that would have been a good one. And Martin Dempster's put an article in the Scotsman last Saturday, which is terrific. Because he was there, so he knew what all that was going on, what was said. And he's got a copy of the book too. So yeah,
Yeah.
so that was a good network. But I had loads of people, but I just wished I got a few more of the players that he'd caddied for. But for some reason I couldn't get them. I even wrote to Colin Montgomery, Ernie Els, Thomas Bjorn on Facebook, but I never got any replies.
All right, I was going to say, did they not get back to you?
No, no. I don't think Monty really liked him anyway. I don't think he was Monty's type. Couldn't
Yeah,
see Monty.
just too.
I think Monty would take it too personal. But in fact, you just had to know Jimmy. None of it was meant to hurt or with any malice. It was all banter, just a piss take, just the mischievous behaviour that the type of person he was. But he didn't care either way whether you liked him or no. It wasn't going to change him. He was always true to himself. That's all you can ask of anybody.
Yeah, definitely. Right, shall we have this conversation on a certain jam tarts then?
Is that us off the record now? You can
I
edit.
mean,
You can edit the bit that Maureen came up in with me.
nah, well, well, I'll only be 5 minutes more of your time, so we might as well have this discussion, and then we'll call it closed after that.
Yep, no
So
bother.
after Midlothian, obviously still top of the league by 2 points. What's your head saying, and what is your heart saying?
My heart would like to say we're going to win it. My head says I think we'll still be in it by the split, but I don't think we'll get over the line because we're going to have to go to Parkhead. We're going to have to go to Easter Road after the split. We've still to play Motherwell twice. Once at home, but then once away. So it's going to be really difficult. But it's going to be difficult for Rangers and Celtic. This could be the lowest league total winning championship for a long time. You could be looking at early 80s. I think if Hearts got 82 or 83 points, which is what, 26 points out of 33.
Need
26.
to bet.
So they need to win what? What? Eight. No, what did I say? 26 points. So that'll be like 8 wins and 2 draws. One defeat. That's a big ask.
I know it's
Oh,
we all want to get very optimistic and we all want it to happen, but it's just whether or not it's going to happen, especially with that defeat at Ibrox at the weekend. Feels like it was a missed opportunity.
I think it was a missed opportunity, especially when they were leading twice. And they just couldn't hold on to it for any length of time. They were bad goals to lose. And even the other one, they were cut open on the left hand side. Milton, for all he's good going forward, he sometimes leaves those big gaps at the back.
So yeah, I have to agree that I
I think we'll
still
just fall short, Craig. But it's been a great first season now, a 10-year plan.
yeah, definitely bloom ball.
Yeah, well, it is. Could never have expected this. But the
It's
Shankland and Devlin injuries came at the wrong time.
yeah, I just feel like we're just setting up for a heartbreak at the end.
Oh no, the St Mirren defeat was a bad one. That was a piss poor performance.
So was the Hibs game, to be honest. We're
Oh,
3-0
that was
down.
yeah, two really bad performances. The one up at Aberdeen was a shocker too. But
See if
then
we can actually. See if we can actually win at Pittodrie. That would be nice, but
But we're not going to Pittodrie again.
I know. So do you think Celtic will win the league still?
Well, I don't want Rangers to win it because they're just self-privileged pricks. I didn't really want Celtic to win it either. How can you choose between two teams you don't want to win it? I'd rather
Definitely. I
Motherwell
mean,
won it than any of them.
I imagine Motherwell will win it. That'd be some laugh.
Well, I think they're the best team we've played all season. That performance at Tynecastle was exceptional.
Yeah.
I just thought, what the hell's happening here? But then they've shown throughout the rest of the season what a really good side they are.
Aye, under the Danish boy. He'll be gone at the end of the season.
Oh, I think he'll be away to Celtic. If they've got any thoughts on replacing O'Neill, he's the one. That's who I think. That's who they're all tipping.
So do you think if it doesn't happen this season that in the next few years it may happen or
Oh, I think it
are we
will. I think it will. I definitely think it'll happen.
fingers crossed, like to be honest, what was it, 1960 something since the last time?
1960. I was 4 at the time. You were
None
just a
of us.
twink. You were just a twinkle in your mum's eye.
I was. My mum wasn't even born then.
Was she not?
No, she's 74,
Right. Oh, right.
so that's a long time.
That's when I went to secondary school. No, that's when I left secondary school.
Just for someone to break the old firm duopoly for the first time in 40 years would be lovely, but
It would. It would. I think other than Celtic, Rangers, and Hibs, all the rest want us to win it.
maybe no Marwell now.
I think Motherwell are just too far back.
Right, anyway, Colin, I shall leave you to it and enjoy the rest of your evening. But
Yes,
thank you
you
so
too, mate.
much again
No,
for
thank
coming
you.
on and chatting. And yeah, all the best.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, all the
Nice to be
best
on
for
your
the
show
book
again.
release.
I look forward to hearing it.
It's always
When will it be?
it's always good to chat with you. And
Absolutely. So when will this be out of your podcast?
um, I'm unsure. Probably. Well, I've got one, maybe two to put up first, but
Right,
definitely probably in the next week.
right. Okay.
Right, right. Anyway, Cole, all the best. Take care.
Okay, mate. Cheers. Thanks, Craig. All the best,
See you.
mate.
Bye.
Bye.